So my name is NATASHA binti ZAMRI. My number matric is 284789. So I will talk about the introduction about the international trade. The ever-expanding era of globalization has given way to borderless trade activities. This borderless world allows people to freely trade or exchange goods wherever they want. If economic growth develops, then the production of goods and services can meet the demand in the market. Therefore, this development depends on how factors of production such as labor, capital, natural resource, and technology are used. The international trade sector plays an important role in economic growth and development. Export income and import expenditure is a relatively large part of the gross national product, which is GNP, showing that a country is dependent on international trade. Export and imports play an important role in marketing goods and services produced in the country that can generate income in the country. Next is concept of international trade. International trade involves interaction between countries in the form of buying and selling goods and services using money or other tools to meet the needs and wants of customers at the appropriate price, time, and place. International trade, where it involves operations across national borders that aim to achieve individual and organizational objectives. This international trade involves three branches, namely import, export, and interport. This trade is freely where they are free to move and develop a business across national borders.
My name is BATRISYIA binti ZUBIR, matric number 284411. So I will continue with analyze the trend of Germany imports from 1990 until 2020. Germany is a major importer of various products, where the top imports of Germany are cars, which worth $71.1 billion, packaged medicaments worth $32.3 billion, crude petroleum worth $29.2 billion, and motor vehicle parts and accessories worth $41.1 billion. These products were mostly being imported in a wide range of goods from countries such as China, the Netherlands, and the United States. In November 2023, Germany's imports had risen by 1.9% on a calendar and seasonally adjusted basis compared to October 2023. The total value of imports into Germany was 110.8 billion in November 2023, with higher purchases from European Union's countries and third countries, including China, the United States, and the United Kingdom. The long-term trend in Germany's imports shows fluctuations, with the value reaching $1,966.11 billion in 2023, a 10.65% increase from 2021. The import data reflects Germany's position as one of the world's largest importers, with a diverse range of trading partners and imported products. Figure 1 shows trends of Germany imports for year of 1990 until 2000, where Germany imports for 1990 is 23.03% of GDP, worth $407.98 billion. In 1991, Germany imports had increased to 24.15% of GDP, worth $451.40 billion. In 1993, there is decrease in Germany imports with 20.26% of GDP, worth $419.72 billion, but it started to increase back from 1994 until 2000 with 20.95% of GDP, worth $461.90 billion in 1994, and in 2000, Germany import is 30.68% of GDP, worth $597.61 billion. Figure 2 shows trends of Germany imports for year of 2001 until 2010, where Germany imports for 2001 is 30.22% of GDP, worth $587.98 billion. In 2002, Germany imports had decreased to 28.34% of GDP, worth $589.09 billion, but it started to increase back from 2003 until 2008 with 29.04% of GDP, worth $726.42 billion in 2003. In 2008, Germany imports is 37.73% of GDP, worth $1,412.92 billion. In 2009, there was a decrease in Germany imports with 33.11% of GDP, worth $1,129.43 billion, but in 2010, Germany imports had increased with 37.30% of GDP, worth $1,268.18 billion. Figure 3 shows trends of Germany imports for year of 2011 until 2020, where Germany imports for 2011 is 40.15% of GDP, worth $1,505.31 billion. In 2012, Germany imports has increased to 40.21% of GDP, but the billions of the US has decreased to $1,418.16 billion. The GDP of Germany imports continued to decreases in 2013 until 2014 with 39.66% and 39% but the billions of US was increased to $1,480 and $83 billion and $1,516 and $78 billion for 2014. In 2015, the GDP of Germany imports had increased to 39.33%, but the billions of US had decreased to $1,320 and $39 billion. The next year, in 2016, had recorded that the GDP of Germany imports had decreased to 38.70%, but the billion of US had increased to $1,342.71 billion. Germany imports increased back from 2017 until 2018 with 40.07% of GDP worth $1,479.08 billion in 2017, and in 2018, Germany import is 41.21% of GDP worth $1,637.91 billion. In 2019, there was a decrease in Germany imports with 41.02% of GDP worth $1,594.83 billion. But in 2020, Germany imports had continued to decrease with 37.39% of GDP worth $1,454.16 billion.
Germany economic system is a highly advanced social market economy. Its national economy is the biggest in Europe, ranked third globally in terms of nominal GDP and ranked fifth in terms of GDP. According to the International Monetary Fund (IMF), the nation economy made up 28% of the euro area's GDP in 2011. A founding member of both the Eurozone and the European Union is Germany. The value of all commodities and other market service supplied to the rest of the world is reflected in export of products and services. The value of goods, freight, insurance, transportation, travel, royalties, license fees, and other services, including financial, informational, business, personal, and governance service, are among them. They do not include transfer payment, employee remuneration, or investment income. Figure 4 show graph from 1990 to 2000. The export trend in Germany experienced fluctuation. In 1990, Germany's exports were 404.58 billion, accounting for 22.84% of its GDP. In 1991, the exports increased to 442.28 billion, representing 23.68% of the GDP. In 1992, the export increased to 473.10 billion, accounting for 22.19% of GDP. In 1993, the export decreased to 420.76 billion, representing to 0.31% of the GDP. In 1994, the export increased to 465.51 billion, accounting for 21.11% of GDP. In 1995, the export increased to 563.78 billion, accounting for 21.99% of GDP. In 1996, Germany's exports were 570.87 billion, accounting for 22.86% of its GDP. In 1997, the export decreased to 560.97 billion but increased in representing to 5.36% of GDP. In 1998, the export increased to 591.25 billion, accounting for 26.41% of the GDP. In 1999, the export slowly increased to 591.78 billion, representing 26.96% of the GDP. In 2000, the export increased to 600.91 billion, accounting but rapidly increased in GDP for 30.85%. Figure 5 show graph from 2001 until 2010. In 2001, Germany export were 619.63 billion, accounting for 31.84% of its GDP. In 2002, the export up to 677.43 billion, representing 32.59% of the GDP. In 2003, the export increased to 820.83 billion, accounting for 32.81% of the GDP. In 2004, the export rapidly increased to 1005.10 billion, representing for 35.71% of the GDP. In 2005, the export increased to 1083.50 billion, accounting for 38.06% of the GDP. In 2006, Germany's export were 1240.79 billion, accounting for 41.43% of its GDP. This shows very a good trend in export for Germany. In 2007, the export up to 1484.06 billion, representing for 43.32% of the GDP. In 2008, the export slowly increased to 1640.40 accounting for 43.80% of the GDP. In 2009, the export rapidly decreased to 1300.37 billion, representing also decreased to 38.12% of the GDP. In 2010, the export increased again to 1447.08 billion, accounting for 42.57% of the GDP will also increase. Figure 6 show graph analyzed from 2011 to 2020. The trend of German export during 10-year period was not constant. This is influenced by various factors, including the most important factor being infectious disease COVID-19. It has also threatened the entire economy in the world. In 2011, Germany's export were 1,689.33 billion, accounting for 45.06% of its GDP. This show very good trend in export for Germany, but in 2012, the export going down to 1,633.32 billion, but increased well to 46.31% of the GDP. In 2013, the export slowly increased to 1,695.84 billion, but accounting decreased to 45.42% of the GDP. In 2014, the export slightly increased to 1,774.18 billion, representing also increased to 45.62% of the GDP. 2015, the export roughly decreased again to 1,575.40 billion, but in accounting increased for 46.92% of the GDP. In 2016, Germany export were 1,598.67 billion, accounting for 46.07% of its GDP. But in 2017, the export going up well to 1,740.72 billion, but increased well to 47.16% of the GDP. In 2018, the export maintaining increased to 1,880.26 billion, but accounting slowly increased to 47.31% of the GDP. In 2019, the export slightly decreased to 1,814.62 billion, representing also decreased to 46.67% of the GDP. Lastly, in 2020, the exports continue roughly decreased to 1,673.07 billion, but in accounting also going decrease for 44.01% of GDP. Nation's trade balance or the difference between its import and export can be used to assess whether foreign commerce benefit or impedis. A country is often viewed favorably if its export outpaces its import, indicating a competitive economy. On the other hand, a trade deficit when import outweighs export is frequently regarded negatively since it could indicate a less competitive economy. The balance of trade is affected by a number of variables such as economic growth, currency rates, consumer demands, export competitiveness, and trade policy. International commerce has the potential to boost productivity, expand the consumer's base, and lower price, but it can also have unintended consequences and have varying effects on different industries and nations.
So the third one is technological advancement in the countries can be benefit from international trade by exporting high-tech products and services, while countries with less advanced technologies can be benefit from importing these products and services. The fourth is countries with abundant natural resources can benefit from international trade by exporting these resources, while countries with scarce resources may face challenges in competing in global markets.
Next is the major exporting product of the Germany. Germany is the country third largest importer and exporter in the world, with Germany and European Union, which is UN, as its main trading partners, accounting for 67.5% of exports and 65.6% of imports in 2021. The main export products in Germany include vehicles, motors, vehicle parts, pharmaceutical, machinery, and electrical equipment. Germany is home to some of the largest and the most influential automakers in the world, including Volkswagen AG, BMW Group, Mercedes-Benz Group AG, and Porsche. According to a 2023 report, the 5 largest German vehicle manufacturers are Volkswagen, BMW Group, Mercedes-Benz, Ford Wacker, and Opel. Germany's main export is important to them because it is the basis of their economy, contributing 1 of every 2 euros earned. The United States, China, France, and the Netherlands are Germany's most important export market. Germany's main export is important to them because it is the basis of their economy, contributing 1 of every 2 euros earned. In fact, it is important because Germany is one of the most important countries for worldwide trade. This shows the importance of trade is also clear when placing Germany in the perspective of international trade with the size of the economy.
The impact of war on international trade is disruption to logistic network, First, war will cause delay and create challenges in transportation and affect the efficiency of global supply chain. The war also affected the logistic network in Germany. Among the effects on Germany is causing disruption in the supply chain. For example, the war that has occurred between the two countries, namely Russia and Ukraine in 2020. This war has caused many sanctions to be imposed on Russia. Russia, which is the main supplier of raw material and energy, has caused the blocking of the flow of goods to several countries, including Germany. Among the important resources and raw material are metal, mineral, and oils. As a result, there are delays in raw material and price increase. Second, cost disruption in transportation. This war has caused land and air routes between Europe and Russia to be disrupted. This in turn will limit the option to transport and deliver goods to export and import countries. Due to the disruption of land and air route, there is an increased reliance on alternative route, namely sailing. As a result, it will add time and cause high cost to logistics. Third, cost disruption in the source of energy dependence. Germany is too dependent on Russian gas, and this has become a major concern. Although there are many studies and efforts made to diversify energy source, immediate disruption such as war have caused a lack of preparation in terms of production, and of course it will cause high cost. Fourth, cost and impact on consumer. Increased raw material and transportation costs are likely to be passed on to consumer to ensure producer costs can be minimized and profit can be made despite problem in the market. This will cause a high increase in daily goods. Consumers have to bear the high price and cause demand in the market to decrease. As a result, the cost of living will increase and the standard of living will decrease. Lastly, affect the growth of the German economy. German industry is heavily dependent on import material. This will cause Germany to face the risk of a slowdown in production and possibly result in some industries to being forced to close due to the effect of this war. As a result, Germany's economic growth will be affected in the short and long term. Foreign direct investment (FDI) refer to investment made by a party in one country, which is the investor, into a business or corporation in another country, which is the recipient. FDI has a great impact not only on the economy of the investor country, but also on the economic and social welfare of the host country. FDI has become an important source of external finance for developing countries because it not only meets the growing needs of various economic sectors, but also promotes the economic growth of a country. However, FDI will be affected if a war occurs in a country. War will have an impact on foreign direct investment. Among the effects is causing damage to infrastructure and human capital. War will cause a lot of damage to occur, such as the destruction of road, building, factories, and bridges, which are important components to ensure business operation runs smoothly. War will also cause the displacement of skilled workers and the death of skilled and semi-skilled workers. As a result, a company will find it difficult to find the workforce they need to operate the company. In addition, the impact of war on foreign direct investment is that it will cause increased risk and uncertainty. The war that occurs will cause political and economic instability. This will cause investors to feel the risk if they invest in a country involved in the war. Next, the effect of war on foreign direct investment is that it will cause trade restriction. Countries involved in war may face economic sanctions and trade barriers from other countries. This can make it difficult for foreign companies to do business in war-torn countries. As a result, it can further prevent foreign direct investment to be carried out. The figure is show about the war in Ukraine that reshaping world trade and investment in 2022.
Asset pricing, risk management, inflation rates and the security of food and energy are all impacted by the circumstance. The conflict between Russia and Ukraine had an impact on the commodities market as well. Do not therefore be alarmed by the rise in these commodities price on the global market. Since March 2022, Russia has been subject to economic sanctions that have exacerbated the situation because they were premeditated and intended to destroy the Russian banking system and cut off the country's economy from the outside world market. Major commodity prices began to rise more sharply in the early months of 2021. Commodities related to agriculture and energy saw a very steep price increase. Russia provides a substantial amount of oil to the world market. After the United States and Saudi Arabia, Russia is the third largest producer of petroleum and other liquids in the world in 2022, with an average yearly production of 10.5 million barrels per day of liquid fuel. Russia's primary market for its natural gas and oil exports, as well as its primary source of income, is Europe. The majority of Europe's imports of natural gas and oil come from Russia, making it one of the continent's main suppliers of this resource. With approximately 22.5 trillion cubic feet produced in 2020, Russia ranks second in the world after the United States as a producer of raw gas. Figure 8 shows that while the price of energy and agricultural goods increased, the price of metals did not rise significantly. Crude oil prices have likewise never broken beyond the peaks detailed in the immediate run-up to the Great Financial Crisis (GFC). The left diagram also illustrates the highest price of petrol and diesel as well as the onset of a severe supply chain issue. The primary agricultural commodity has attained a price that surpassed the level shown in the center diagram. The increase in price has happened to wheat and sunflower because Ukraine and Russia are the main and big exporters. Corn and soybeans did not experience a surge, but there are several aspects that occurred in the price increase late 2020. Commodity prices were rapidly impacted by the imbalance and shift that followed the outbreak of the Russia-Ukraine war. The futures and related options market are in danger of becoming unstable due to this change. Most markets were under pressure. Since the two nations export a significant amount of important crops together, supply constraints are a contributing factor in part of this pressure. Germany's commodity market has been disrupted by the conflict in Ukraine, primarily impacting the supply and price of different goods. Germany is a major trading partner of the European Union and has a sizable economy. Therefore, the impact is substantial. Germany's potential output will be lowered due to the decline in energy-intensive sector production brought on by the sharp increase in energy price since the crisis between Russia and Ukraine. Significant shocks to the commodities market, altered global trade patterns, production and improved rich people's means of subsistence have also resulted from the war. The war has also affected the cost of imports and the economic performance of many different nations. The majority of Europe's import of natural gas and oil come from Russia, making it one of the continent's main suppliers of this resource. Due to the control and blocking of access to and from the area by Ukrainian and Russian military force, the sea is currently unreachable in Ukraine. The majority of business choose to stop the import and export of service from Russia and Ukraine as a result of this issue. The direct supply chain impact will be lack of major export out of Russia and Ukraine. Not only agriculture, energy and raw materials, but the supply chain will be affected. Based on figure 9, Russia accounts for approximately 5.5% of the world's aluminium production, making it the world's third largest producer after China and India. This small amount reduces the dependence of various countries on Russia. Russia also controls 11% of global nickel production and 15% of world nickel export. Russia is the main supplier of nickel to Finland with an export value of 84%. The main exporters of palladium are Russia, South Africa, the United Kingdom, the United States, Germany, Italy and Belgium. Russia accounts for 43% of global palladium production and 21% of world palladium exports. Many countries depend on Russia for the majority of their palladium imports, including Japan, United States, United Kingdom, China, Italy, Germany and Korea. Russia is one of the 4 main exporters of vanadium oxide. The others are South Africa, Brazil and China. Russia accounts for 21% of global vanadium oxide production and 25% of world vanadium oxide exports. Global supply chains have been significantly impacted by the Russia-Ukraine war, which has repercussions for the German economy. One of the biggest marketplaces for produced goods is Germany as well. The shortage of certain supplies, such limited output of neon, has an impact on automated production. 20% of German-made automobiles incorporate Ukrainian wiring components. German automakers were forced to take a number of steps, including lowering production costs, modifying working hours, and decreasing capacity. It has an impact on Germany's inflation rate.
is conclusion. International trade is very important in the economy because international trade plays a role in the gross domestic product of a country, which is GDP. An increase in import will harm the country's production. For example, when the domestic consumers buy more foreign products from abroad than domestic producers sell to foreign countries, the country run a trade deficit. An increase in export will help revive the country's economy. For example, Germany is one of the biggest exporting countries in the world after United States and China. Furthermore, international trade has various effects in the economic growth of a country because international trade boosts the national economy. Any issues such as war, political crisis, economic recession will have an impact on international trade. International trade allows excess domestic supply to be exported abroad. A wider market allows firms to earn higher profits and thus increase national income. This also encourages foreign investment when a country runs an open economy policy.